Alright, so I want to start this video off by saying, at first it didn't go so well. I'm trying to winterize the jet ski for the winter, just so I don't have any block splittage or anything terrible happen. And I, have my flush hose here, which I usually flush it, just for regular water. And I didn't have a pump. I read online people use pumps to pump antifreeze through while it's running, obviously, and then it should, sufficiently go through the system. But I thought gravity would be fine, which it was not. Meaning I had a funnel. Where is it here? I had built this little setup here. Put this funnel attached to this end. Put some tape on it. It had a nice watertight seal. And as it ran, the antifreeze was going down slowly, but it just didn't go down as quick as I thought. And then next thing I know, a minute or two later, I get the overheat light, so shut her down, and it definitely wasn't circulating like it should. So I actually went to my dad's house, and then I got a submersible pump. I read into it. It does, I actually even measured it. It does about 4 gallons per minute pumping water, really. I should get like maybe a nicer pump or something a little cleaner. I already cleaned it out. I flushed water through it, so I ended up putting it in that bucket, and I put 2 gallons of what I got here, RV and marine antifreeze in there, and I ran it, pumped it through. But the problem is that this, if you look down there, you got a Y that goes into your motor that way. Then you have a Y for the inlet, I believe, when the jet ski's just in the water coming in. Well, most of it pours out the back, and barely any really goes into the motor. And 2 gallons went away in about 30 seconds, and I didn't even get any coolant coming out of the cooling jet here, which it might be fine, but at the same time, I feel like it pretty much just went all over the ground. So I didn't like that. I read online quite a bit, and some people, either I put like 5 gallons through the system and eventually it should start coming out the cooling pipe here. But that's just a lot of antifreeze, and it's going right in my yard. I don't know. So I read that people pinch that intake. So if you have to tow this jet ski, people pinch that where you put like a shutoff on it, just so water doesn't go through and then go into the cylinders when you're being towed over 5 miles an hour. But I bought these little clamps here at Harbor Freight in like a set. It's like a fuel and hose clamp system. And I guess you just put it in there and then you crank it down, and it's gonna pinch it, but I think it's gonna do exactly what I want it to do. I hope. This would be the 3rd time I'm trying to winterize this thing, even though it's probably fine. I just wanted to do it better and make a video about it, because I feel like I didn't find the greatest videos on this. They were okay, they were decent, but this is more specific to what I found. So I just want the antifreeze to be coming out of that cooling pipe nicely, or the nozzle, whatever you call it, and know that it went through the system sufficiently and didn't just all dump out on the ground. So yeah, I'm gonna get this all set up, and then we'll see where we're at. Alright, so I feel like it's just been one thing after another. I guess that's why people pay to get this thing done and winterized. But I was pouring in the AutoZone antifreeze there. I only had 1 gallon. That's from yesterday or 2 days ago. They only had 1 gallon of that left, and then they had a gallon of this Prestone. But guess what? When I poured it in there, it smelled like pure gasoline. And then when I read here, it clearly says, not used as winterizing fluid in gasoline or diesel engines, not intended for use as an antifreeze coolant for operating engines. So great. So I had to dump it out. Look at, I spilled some on the ground. It smells like pure gas. So I'm only down to 1 gallon, and that's a bummer because this thing drinks it pretty quick. But last time it dumped a lot on the ground, but this time I actually have my, like I showed you before, that clamp, and I just clamped that line so it shouldn't backflow and back out instantly. It should actually go through the system more than last time, so maybe a gallon will be sufficient. So we'll see. I guess I'm pretty much ready. I got this bucket here. I'm trying to catch coolant rather than have it dump everywhere. Maybe I can just reuse it if I need to, in case I need to keep flushing it. I can get enough through. So that bucket's there, I have that bucket there, and then I got this bucket here to maybe catch not only catch it from my driveway now this time, but also maybe to recycle it and reuse it if I need to tonight. So I guess we're ready. I got my pump in here. I had to make this adapter, cut an old hose, copper pipe, male, and then into the female. Kind of a pain, but that's life, I guess. Alright, so why don't I start the jet ski? I guess it's ready, so I'm going to start the jet ski, and then you just plug in the pump. I got my cord here, and then I hope to see some coolant coming out of that line and whatnot. So let's get her, let me get her running, but first I'm gonna get this set up here, just so I'm ready. All right, so let me get this. Okay, just got it running. Just turn this on. Alright, so basically where that video left off, I ran out of coolant. I only had like a gallon and a half in there, if not less. So, ran to Walmart, got 3 more. You know, this is a good time. But, hey, at least I'm learning something. So basically I needed more coolant because I wasn't having, I'm sure it was fine, but to me I wanted to see it spit out the cooling nipple right there. And I just did it off camera, but I had to do it. So basically, this is what I used. This is the clamp. Worked pretty well. I clamped that line down there. I just popped it off because I didn't want all that coolant sitting there. Once you pop it off, more coolant, after you shut it off, more coolant dumps out. I'm going to run it in a second just to get more out. But yeah, what a mess. I did it before in the yard, but I'm going to wipe it up and clean it. But basically, how I did it is I used that pump. I needed three solid gallons of it just to get it to come out of here. And I wanted it to be pink, which you might not be able to see it, but it was when it was coming out. It wasn't spraying, but it was dripping when I was revving it just a little bit, a little pink, so that's what I wanted to see. And I was also looking in here as it was running, and this is where the coolant, that hole right up there, that's where coolant comes out of the, I think the cylinder head from this pipe right there, and that was running out nice and pink. So yeah, I'd say it's winterized. I'm still gonna do some work to it. I wasn't gonna fog the cylinders, but I think I will just because there might be moisture. There is moisture, obviously, all around this motor all year round. So I might fog the cylinders and pop the intake boot off and shoot some fogging oil in there. But yeah, that's how I winterized this jet ski. It's easy, but I had to learn how to do it and get the fluid to run nicely through there. I wanted to see the pink come out of all the cooling ports. I mean, some people just run it and just have it dump out the exhaust, which I feel like isn't enough. You definitely want to have it coming out of that top end. If you have 2 people, or you know, coming out of this rubber pieces in the way. But I was really happy to see it coming out of that whole hole right there. And then with little wraps, I got some cooling coming out of there. So yeah, I guess that's about it. These things are cool, but like I said, if you don't pinch your line, man, pretty much all of it just runs right out the back. Kind of like as if you're just flushing it in, you know, after a ride or something like that. But when you're buying this and it's just going everywhere, I prefer to pinch that line like people said online. Seemed to be safe. You know, that one right down there, that's what I pinched. Because there's your Y from the flusher right here. All right, so I guess that wraps that up. I got some cleaning to do, as you see. But she shouldn't freeze.